Ben, I think you could probably speak to this. Ben Turek, who's a listing agent on our team. The inventory, challenge, for buyers is tough. It's great for sellers, and I think we get a lot of bidding wars because of how we handle that process. A lot of agents, I think, are quick to act on an offer when it comes in too fast, and I think we're obviously a lot different on that front.
Yeah, we definitely advise our sellers to be patient. When we get an offer that's great, we love to see offers coming in, but be patient because you never know, there could be a second, a third, a fourth coming right behind that. We want to make sure we're doing the best thing for our sellers, really getting them the most that we can.
And it's funny because I remember, when Angela and I first started in the business, I remember a circumstance where we actually had a listing. The seller accepted an offer pretty quickly, and that night they signed it, executed, and that night an offer came in for $5,000 more money. It's under contract, you got a legally binding document. So now I think, we don't want that to happen. And certainly there's a balance between patronizing the buyer. It's not like you want to stall somebody for 10 days,
Right.
and really being patient. But I think the patient part of it too is, what happens in a market like this is the realtors that represent the buyers, they start pressuring, I need an answer, I need an answer, I need an answer now. And they bring in all the drama, and they start blowing up everybody's phone and acting like the whole world's going to end because you haven't answered their offer in 4 hours. Well, it's because they know that it's a competitive market. There's very likely a chance for another offer. So I get the fact that they're doing that to represent their client. But the reality is that, in a lot of situations today, people have other family members at work. They need a chance to think about it, to talk about it, to figure out what the exact payoff on the mortgage is. And so we just don't want to rush the seller. And certainly we have situations where the seller will take an offer in a few hours. It's always their call. We're only giving them advice. It's the seller's decision.
Correct. The seller always has the choice, and we want to do what's best for our client. Our advice is usually to wait. Let's take 24 hours, talk it over with your spouse, make sure this is the right deal. And if that brings in a second or third offer, fantastic. If you want to grab the first one, then that's your choice. Let's sign it and get it done.
Well, one of the things we do uniquely is we let the other agents know there's an offer. And sometimes a showing will happen so for example, let's say a house Friday at noon gets an offer, and we're going to email everybody that showed it. And then Friday night at midnight, somebody sets a showing for Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. We do work a lot, but we're not robots, so we're not sitting at the computer at midnight to be able to tell that person there's an offer. So sometimes not every person finds out, but we do everything we can to let the agents know that have already seen it or they're already scheduled to see it know that, hey, look, we got an offer. And because I think naturally sometimes, when you're representing the seller and you want to get that great price for them, and it's not just price, sometimes it's terms, sometimes it's a cash offer that shows up, sometimes it's less contingencies, and sometimes it's a buyer that they really like. We've had it happen many times where the seller selects an offer that maybe wasn't the best financial offer, but they liked the people, and so it's really ultimately the seller's call. But you see these circumstances, and you obviously want to put the best foot forward for the seller, and really letting everybody get a crack at it. And I think the process that we follow with that does allow us to have that happen more often. It seems like we send out the last call emails, and it's just more common. But again, as a buyer, you're probably this situation is probably going to happen a lot. The sellers know they're in control. They know that it's more likely, and I think that agents are adapting, and the agents representing the buyers get frustrated, and they attempt to kind of steamroll you into answering the offer. But the reality is that it's most of the time better for the seller to be patient, see a day or two. Not a ton of time, but also for them to get all their numbers in line to make sure, can they make that closing date happen? Where are they going next? Sometimes the seller doesn't know where they're going next until they get an offer on their house, and then it throws in a whole new mix of variables about what the hell am I going to do when this thing does sell? Where am I going? So I think that that's a pressure of the market right now. Not as much of a pressure in Sarasota, obviously, because they have increasing inventory, but in Tampa, still with the decreasing inventory, it's definitely an obstacle.